Ginadinashak Narasimha Maharaj happened to meet Srila Prabhupada in year 1973. 71. Sorry. And
I got initiation in 71.
okay, initiation in 71, and Maharaj is given sannyas from Tamakrishna Maharaj. Yeah, sannyas initiation from Tamakrishna Maharaj. Maharaj has been preaching in Southeast Asia, also specifically very difficult countries like China for many years. I happened to meet Maharaj in 2005 when I was staying with Brajari Prabhu back in Singapore. And I have heard many classes from Maharaj that are quite inspiring, very in-depth and quite strict as well. So very happy to see you, Maharaj. Let's welcome Maharaj by loudly chanting 3 times.
Haribol! Haribol!
Thank you very much. Well, it's very cold.
Should I bring hot water?
Yeah, of course. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So this year is special for us. Thank you, Prabhu. This year is special for all of us because this is the 60th anniversary of the formation of ISKCON.
Haribol!
Haribol.
Haribol!
Srila Prabhupada went to New York, and it was in 1966 when he first registered ISKCON,
Yeah.
International Society. At that time, of course, they had a very small storefront in one of the poorer areas of New York, and there were only a few people, but Srila Prabhupada still was very clear what he wanted, and he called it the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And so the devotees attending, they were surprised, international, They were all, of course, they were all Americans at that time. New York wasn't really so cosmopolitan at that time. There were no Indians there, but Prabhupada wanted International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So someone said to Prabhupada, why Krishna? Why don't we just say God Consciousness? But Srila Prabhupada said, no, we should give God His name. So His name is Krishna. So that's how Prabhupada began the ISKCON Society. So 60 years, it's not very long. Ramakrishna Mission, for example, they're 200 years, they're much longer. There's other institutions been around longer than ISKCON. But in some ways ISKCON has been successful. Many temples around the world, in all parts of the world. And books. We have to admit that nobody can have, I don't know any institution which has so many books as what we have. We give a lot of importance to book production. And Srila Prabhupada's books, of course, are the main books of the institution. And therefore you'll see that although there's Gaudiya Math many branches of the Gaudiya Math, they will all use Prabhupada's books because they don't have it. Nobody produced books like what Prabhupada did. So that's a very important achievement. And of course Prabhupada separated the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust from ISKCON because he was worried that if ISKCON got in trouble, then at least still the books would be there. And so the book production goes on in different languages, and of course here in Germany you also have books. Yeah, but I'm sure all the Bhagavatam is translated probably, yeah? And Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we do try to print the books in all the languages of the world, make them available. But Prabhupada wrote in English because he knew that from the English language it would be easy to translate, to convert the books into the other languages. And of course now you have AI, so everything can be done easy now, you know. So many things are easy. So anyway, we cannot just depend on AI to help us to make us Krishna conscious. We still have to read Prabhupada's books. The AI can write things and do things, but what we really want is to work on our own consciousness and try to make our own self Krishna conscious. So Prabhupada gave us the process, hearing and chanting. This is important for us. This is the basic practice of bhakti yoga, is with hearing and chanting. So our Krishna consciousness movement is meant for that. We want to practice devotional service, and ideally we want that devotional service should be free from the modes of passion and ignorance. We want it should be pure. We want it to come to the level of pure goodness. Srimad Bhagavatam begins by rejecting all other forms of religion, right? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Dharma Projata Kaitava, Sukadeva Srila Vyasadeva actually, the second verse of the first chapter. There are 3 verses, the introductory verses in the Bhagavatam. They're written by Srila Vyasadeva, describing the purpose of the book. And the second verse describes that this Bhagavatam completely rejects all processes which are materially motivated. Materially motivated. Kaitava dharma, meaning cheating religion. Prabhupada would call it sometimes. Cheating. We pray to God and we show devotion, but we're thinking, where's the money? You know, we want to get something in return. But actually devotional service is meant to be done without any fruitive desire. We don't expect anything. Srila Prabhupada would say devotional service means to finish your business, not to do business, not to expect anything, but just simply to give service, to give service. Like Krishna, Lord Krishna told the gopis, he said, there's no way I can repay you. You've given up everything. They sacrificed, the gopis of Vrindavan sacrificed everything for the service of Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna said, there's no way I can repay you. You will have to be satisfied yourself with that service. So the same way, you know, where you're practicing Krishna consciousness in these places, you know, it's not very easy. People here in this part of the world are not very Krishna conscious, generally. No, people are not Krishna conscious. They're not very spiritual. But it's our duty to try to be Krishna conscious, to practice and try our best to distribute Krishna consciousness also. And that way you become very dear to Krishna. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, Na chatasman manusheshu kaschan me priya kritama. That there's no one more dear to me than those people who are distributing, who are trying to teach Krishna consciousness. So by practicing Krishna consciousness and trying to distribute Krishna consciousness, you're naturally dear to Lord Krishna. So Prabhupada wanted very much to see Krishna consciousness established in Germany. Previously there was the one Max Muller from Germany. He went to India and he translated the Vedas and things. So he became a Sanskrit scholar, but not a devotee, you see. So Prabhupada had devotees come here in Germany. Prabhupada came here to Germany. So you're blessed by the dust of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. He wanted to see Krishna consciousness distributed here. So it's very nice. By the arrangement of Krishna, you've come here and you're here in this place and you're trying to distribute the message of Lord Krishna. Krishna consciousness is, of course, it's not a sectarian message. It's meant for everyone, everywhere. Lord Krishna is in the heart of every living entity. So everyone is actually part and parcel of Lord Krishna. But they have to hear, they have to awaken their Krishna consciousness. So this is the business of devotees, to try to bring out the Krishna consciousness in people. Let them hear about Krishna. And sometimes it does happen that people hear the holy name and they're attracted. People read a book, they get a book, they're changed. We saw in China, we were distributing books there, and so some people got the books and they were just, they said, this is so wonderful. One man told us, he said, I want to help you spread this knowledge all over China. He was reading a simple book. It was the Science of Reincarnation, Coming Back. Do you have that book? Have you read it? Coming Back. A simple little book, you know. But he said, this is so wonderful. I want to help you teach this knowledge to everyone. And another man got the book and he picked out portions of the book. He wrote it on his wall. I am not the body. You know, he was so impressed. He was so, he wrote it on the wall, big letters, so he could remember. So these things happen. People, you know, the Krishna consciousness awakens in them. And it's very wonderful to see people, how they change once they take up Krishna consciousness. And we see that in, just like if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, you read about people like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, you know, he's a big man, you know, he's a scholarly man, he's an acharya, you see? And he was actually teaching The sannyasis in Jagannath Puri, he was teaching them the philosophy of Shankaracharya, the teachings of Vedanta according to Shankaracharya. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was an impersonalist. But he met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was kind to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Probably you know this story. Lord Chaitanya had come to Jagannath Puri. He'd taken sannyas and he'd come to Jagannath Puri. And he got in the temple and he saw Lord Jagannath and he fainted on the floor in front of Lord Jagannath. Now usually people do that, they'll come with sticks and beat you. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya happened to be there and he saw this young man in the dress of a sannyasi and he saw him faint on the floor. So when the pundits or the gundas or whatever they call them, these people, the security guards there in the temple, they came with the sticks, they were going to beat him. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya stopped them because he was like the superintendent of the temple, so he wouldn't let them harm him. And he told, take him to my home and let him recover. So Lord Chaitanya's body was taken to the home of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And he was there. So the Bhattacharya took it. Later on, the other devotees came, and they came, and when they chanted the holy name, Lord Chaitanya revived. He got back his consciousness. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was talking to Lord Chaitanya, and he was asking him about who he took sannyas from, and where he took his sannyas and everything. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya thought, I should help this young man, that he's very young, and it will be difficult for him to maintain the vow of sannyas. So he thought, I will teach him Vedanta. And he thought if he learns the philosophy of Vedanta, then he will be strong, and he will be able to maintain his vows. So Lord Chaitanya could not refuse, because the Bhattacharya had been so nice to him. So Lord Chaitanya was listening to him, and he had to listen for 7 days. For 7 days he had to listen to Bhattacharya speaking Mayavada philosophy. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said to Lord Chaitanya, said, you never asked even one question. So many days I had been talking to you, you never even asked even one question from me. He said, why don't you tell me? If you don't understand something, I can explain it to you. But Lord Chaitanya said, no, he said, I can understand, but the way you explain it, wow, he said, terrible. He said, not clear at all, it's all puzzling. So Lord Chaitanya then went on to explain more about Vedanta to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And then the Bhattacharya asked Lord Chaitanya to explain the Atmarama Sloka. There's one verse in the Bhagavatam, Atmarama Sloka, right? You know that verse? Atmarama Munayo
Nirgrantapi urukrame kurvanti abhaitukim bhakti
Ikam.
itam bhuta gunamhari.
Yes, very good, yes. Right, this is the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. It's saying that even the liberated souls are attracted to hear the glories of Lord Krishna. So it is surprising that liberated souls have no material desire. But They want to hear about Krishna. So this indicates that hearing about Krishna is not material. So this verse is a puzzle to the impersonalists, the Brahmagyanis and people like that. They have difficulty to understand this verse. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked Lord Chaitanya to explain it. So he went on and he explained, Lord Chaitanya explained it. And the Bhattacharya was then impressed, greatly impressed, because actually Lord Chaitanya, he asked the Bhattacharya, he said, you explain it first. And so the Bhattacharya explained each of the words in the sloka. But then Lord Chaitanya congratulated him. He said, very nice. He said, you're a very learned scholar, you know. But then Bhattacharya asked Lord Chaitanya, can you explain something more? So Lord Chaitanya explained 64 different more meanings without touching on the original meanings given by Bhattacharya. So the Bhattacharya was deeply impressed. He understood, oh, this sannyasi is amazing. He's so learned, he knows so much. But then Lord Chaitanya revealed his identity to him. He revealed the form of Sadbhuj. There were two hands playing the flute of Lord Krishna. There were two hands, one holding the bow and arrow like Lord Rama. And there were two hands, one holding the sannyasi danda and the kamandalu, the water pot. So Lord Chaitanya was revealing himself that Lord Rama and Lord Krishna, and now he's come as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is called the Sadbhuj, the six-armed form. It's a special form. It was a special revelation to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya by Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya wanted to reveal his identity to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So the Bhattacharya then could understand that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually Krishna himself. Actually, Gopinathacharya, who was a brother-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, had already told him that. But Bhattacharya was saying, no, he cannot be the incarnation of the Lord, because the Lord does not come in Kali Yuga. But Gopinathacharya said to him, no, you're wrong. The Lord says, Sambhavami Yuge Yuge, that he comes in every age. So, he said, you don't know the philosophy. And then Lord Chaitanya revealed to the Bhattacharya that he was actually the Lord himself. He was not different from Lord Rama and Lord Krishna, and now he had come as a sannyasi. And he's come to teach about Krishna, the chanting of the names of Krishna, the teaching, the philosophy of Krishna, and how to worship Krishna. Lord Chaitanya is teaching these things to all of us. And Lord Chaitanya also asked his devotees like Haridas and Lord Nityananda that they should go everywhere and they should teach about Krishna. Lord Chaitanya told them, he said, go to every door, go in every lane, every alley, knock on the door, fall at the feet of the people and beg them three things. Chant the names of Krishna, worship Krishna, and read the books about Krishna. So the Bhattacharya, he understood Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, that he is Krishna, but he has come to teach about Krishna. because although he's Krishna, he's come in the mood of a devotee. He's covered himself, he's covered his identity, because he wants to teach the message of, he wants to show people how to be a devotee. 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna had came, and Lord Krishna had asked everyone to surrender to him. But he never demonstrated. He gave the instruction, but he had never demonstrated how to surrender. So now, Lord Chaitanya has come, and he's showing everyone how to surrender to Krishna. How to surrender by chanting the holy name, by worshipping Krishna, and by studying the books about Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya, he also studied the books, you know. He didn't have Bhaktivedanta Book Trust then, but they did have Srimad Bhagavatam. They did have Bhagavad Gita. Everything was written on palm leaves. And Lord Chaitanya would like to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. And he would go every day to Gadadhar, and he would hear Gadadhar Pandit read from the Srimad Bhagavatam and tell about Prahlad and Dhruva Maharaj. Lord Chaitanya liked very much to hear these two pastimes. So Bhattacharya, he understood Chaitanya was Krishna, so he became a different man. He'd been a dry impersonalist, fond of speculative philosophy, but by Mahaprabhu's influence, he'd become a devotee. Previously, he'd been a smarter Brahmana. Smarter Brahmana means by birth he is a Brahmana, and he follows the rules and follows all the Shastric principles. So he was a philosopher, he was a learned person, but he did not really understand what was liberation. It was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who taught him what is actual liberation. Right? What is actual liberation? Iha yasya haryadashe karmana manasagira nikilaspati avastastu jivan mukta uchati. Jivan mukta, liberated soul. Liberated soul in this lifetime can be liberated by using body, mind and words, all in the service of Lord Krishna. So when the body, mind and words are all dedicated to Krishna's service, then that is real liberation. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he thought liberation is Sayujya Mukti, to merge into the oneness. But now he'd become a devotee, and he's a different person. He changed. And to test, it happened one morning. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came from the Jagannath temple, and he brought Mahaprasada. You know, if you go to the early morning arti, even in Mayapur, if you go to, have you been to Mayapur, some of you? Yes? Yeah. So you go to Mayapur, right after the Mongol arti, they sell the prasada, you know, the Mongol arti sweets. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with some of the Mongol arti sweets from Jagannath Puri, and he came to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, you know, he's a grihasta. He was a grihasta, so he didn't get up very early. Mahaprabhu came there. He'd been to the Mongol arti, and he came there, and he came there and said, he knocked on the door. He said, "Wake up, wake up! I've come to bring you prasadam." And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya came, you know, he's just waking up, oh, you know, waking up. And he had not cleaned his mouth or anything. And Lord Chaitanya said, I brought you the prasad of Lord Jagannath. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya immediately took the prasadam and began to eat it, without even cleaning his mouth. So Lord Chaitanya was very pleased. He said, oh, very nice. He said, this is right. He said, when you get the prasadam of the Lord, you should immediately take it. So Mahaprabhu was very pleased to see how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had changed. He'd become a devotee by association with Mahaprabhu. So the same way people come to Krishna consciousness, we change. I think probably also, maybe you also change, right? When you become a devotee, we start to, we don't have the same interest anymore in the material world. It doesn't have the same attraction. But we're much more attracted to worship Krishna and to chant Krishna's name and to be with devotees. So this is the power of Krishna consciousness, association. And Prabhupada certainly gave a lot of importance to association. Prabhupada personally would travel everywhere. Like I said, he came to Germany. They did not have a lot of devotees. They didn't have a big temple or anything. But Prabhupada came here because Prabhupada knew the value of giving his association. So we need to also associate with Prabhupada regularly. And we can do that by reading Prabhupada's books and by hearing Prabhupada's lectures, these different things, and being also a member of Prabhupada's society, the ISKCON society. It's very important for us to stay connected to Prabhupada. So that connection is not only to Prabhupada, but is to the whole parampara. From Srila Prabhupada brings us in touch with the whole Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. And not only the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, but also the teachings of the other acharyas. We see in Srila Prabhupada's book, Prabhupada also quotes people like Ramanujacharya, Balabhacharya, and even in some places also Shankaracharya. So Prabhupada is giving us that association. He's helping us to understand the importance of hearing from the acharyas and understanding their message. So Krishna consciousness, like I said, it's a process. We have to follow, we have to practice. We chant, we hear, and it doesn't happen immediately. It takes time. We have to hear and chant for some time. Of course, a lot depends on how we hear and how we chant. We have to do it with a lot of motivation, that nobody is forcing us to do these things. We have to want to do them. We have to want to taste the nectar of the holy name. We have to want to relish Srimad Bhagavatam. So, in the beginning, we don't have much taste. In the beginning, because we're new devotees. But if we go on, then gradually the taste awakens. The example is given about the person with jaundice. He has a bad liver. So if you get jaundice, the cure is to drink sugarcane juice. But when you drink the sugarcane juice, it tastes very bitter. Doesn't taste good. Tastes bitter. But that's because the liver is not working properly. We have the jaundice. And the same way when we are chanting Hare Krishna, and when we're hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, we're not getting the taste because we still have the jaundice of materialism. We have to overcome that. We have to remove that jaundice. And you do it, you have to go on drinking the sugarcane. Right? It's a medicine. So the same way our medicine is the chanting. Go on chanting. Go on hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. When Srila Prabhupada came to take initiation from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, "Oh yes, I have noticed him. He likes to hear. He does not go away." You know, other people, they don't have a lot of interest to hear, and they will not be patient, they won't sit for long. But he said, this man, he likes to hear. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati appreciated this quality in Srila Prabhupada. And he was encouraging him to go on hearing, and then also to distribute what he had heard. Before Prabhupada said he had met his guru only 4 or 5 times. Prabhupada took initiation in 1933, and then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati left the world in 1936. So there was only a short time when Prabhupada had association with his guru. Although he had met him much earlier, Prabhupada had met his guru in 1922. And that was in the place called Ultadanga. Recently, a few years ago, we purchased that building, Ultadanga. It's a historic building connected with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and with our own Srila Prabhupada. So ISKCON purchased that building, and we've renovated it and made it into a nice center. Anyway, Prabhupada did not get initiation at that time. He met Bhaktisiddhanta first, but there was no real connection. Prabhupada said at that time he was a young man with a young family, and he could not think of getting involved too much. Anyway, 1933, later, Prabhupada is ready for initiation. He wants to get initiation. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati initiated him. But 1936, he left the world. But before he left the world, our Srila Prabhupada took the trouble, took the care to write to his Guru Maharaj and to ask him. He asked him, he said, you have so many sannyasis there helping you. But he said, I'm a grihastha. He said, how can I serve you? So then, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati wrote back to him and said, yes, what? He said, you use whatever you know to tell people about Krishna consciousness. And he said, what that will be good for you and for those who hear you. And particularly Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati encouraged him to preach in English. Although he was Bengali, but he encouraged him. He said, you're good in English, you can use your English for preaching. So Prabhupada took that as an indication that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati wanted him to go to the West to preach because he was encouraging him to use his English. So Prabhupada went off to America. Very difficult those days, 1960s, to go to America. And of course, no money. He goes on the ship. He got the lady to give him the passage on the boat. And he gets to America, doesn't know anybody, no money. Could you imagine being in America? I just came from Dubai. Actually, in Dubai now, they have a policy, anybody coming in the country, you have to have at least $1,000. Otherwise, don't come. Oh, Krishna. Anyway, Prabhupada went to America, no money. But he had a lot of courage. And so he went there and he went, first the people who had sponsored him, Prabhupada went there to stay with them for a short time. They were living in a small town in Pennsylvania. But then Prabhupada came to New York. And he knew one man, a Dr. Mishra, he had a yoga ashram. So that man, Dr. Mishra, he gave Prabhupada some accommodation. But he didn't want Prabhupada to preach there. Because he was worried. He knew if Prabhupada would preach, he would attract all his students. This Dr. Mishra had his own students. Anyway, Prabhupada was there for some time, then he went to South Manhattan, to the Greenwich Village, where all the young people were, and he was preaching there. And that's where he started. He got the storefront, 26 2nd Avenue. And he had began having programs there. We acquired that building also, that 26 2nd Avenue. If you go to New York, you can go there to 20, you can see the place. It's about this size. It's about the size of this room. It was a shop. And Prabhupada was there, and a few people were coming. And Prabhupada had a bongo drum for kirtan, and he would chant, and he would lecture, and he got people interested. So 60 years ago, today, 60 years ago now, Prabhupada began the ISKCON Society. So we're going on. There have been some good things, there have been some bad things. Everywhere, you know, there's some good and some bad. But anyway, ISKCON is continuing, and we hope it will continue for many more years to come. So we're encouraging all of you and your children also. Your children can be the future devotees. Very nice. They're already devotees. It's very nice. Young children get trained in Krishna consciousness and grow up to be Krishna conscious, just like Prabhupada. The fortunate souls. We're all fortunate souls also, that we could come to Krishna consciousness and associate and learn Bhakti Yoga. Okay, any question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for a wonderful class. Maharaj, you were mentioning about Kaitava Dharma. So I just wanted to know a bit more. Would Karma Yoga, where mostly for we do karma yoga, um, because we are not giving full result to Krishna. So would karma yoga also be considered as a kaitava dharma?
No, karma yoga is not kaitava dharma. But karma kanda is kaitava dharma. Karma kanda is something else. Karma kanda, you're looking for something. Right? Karma yoga is you're giving offering to Krishna. You're working, you're attached to work, but at the same time you're offering some portion of the result to Krishna. So karma yoga is close to bhakti yoga. Karma yoga is on the yoga ladder. It's spiritual. But karma kanda is not. Karma kanda is desire for, artha, kama, moksha. We want economic development, we want some sense gratification, we want liberation. It's karma kanda. That's material. A lot of people, a lot of brahmanas are karma kandi brahmins. They do rituals for the material benefit of people. So it's not pure devotion. That's not pure devotion. We want pure devotion. So karma yoga is on the yoga ladder.
Thank you.
Yes?
I see you very tired, so I will give only one question. I heard one time when Srila Prabhupada went to America, he had a lot of difficulties, and after some times he was praying to Jaladuta. So where to find this poem? Where to see this? I heard one time it's really beautiful. I would like to read again and again.
Usually you find it in the Vyasa Puja book.
Okay.
If you've seen Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja books, every year they publish Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja book. And usually they'll put it there. It's also usually in the Vaishnava songbook.
Yes.
Do you have a Vaishnava songbook?
But I didn't see this.
Well, I don't know which Vaishnava songbook you've got, but the original Vaishnava songbook did have those. There were 2 poems Prabhupada wrote.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and they were there.
Maharaj gave the example of Sarvam Bhattacharya. He had a very strong conceptions of this Mayavadi, and after hearing from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became devotee to such an extent that his philosophical conviction got permeated into his behavior also, that he accepted prasad without even considering whether from Vedic perspective it's right or not. He just gave priorities for the prasadam. So for us, we have a lot of some nature and conceptions, but by practicing bhakti, it's not changing that fast. So how to accelerate that process of change?
Well, association. Try to get more association with devotees. Try to associate more in hearing and chanting. If you can't get physical association with people, at least associate with Prabhupada through his books or hearing his lectures. Association is very helpful. You want to accelerate accelerate your Krishna consciousness. So be eager to get more association. Take advantage of all the association you can get. And at the same time, avoid materialistic association. Try to stay away from people who are not devotees.
Okay.
Then that can help. It's the best thing to help you accelerate your Krishna consciousness. Get good association. You have to be willing to sacrifice to get that association. Right? You have to be willing to.
What kind of sacrifices?
Well, you have to give up the material. Often people, they I want to be Krishna conscious, but they want to hold on to their material life at the same time. So that can be a problem. You have to be willing to let go. There's that story about the one man, he came to his guru and he said, Guruji, how can I get free of my material attachment? So the guru said, told his disciple, just in the future I will tell you, just wait. He said, I'll tell you after a little while. So after some time, he heard his guru shouting. He was shouting, help! Let me go! Let me go! And he came, oh my guru, he's in trouble, I have to go and help him. He went running, he saw his guru was holding a tree. And he was shouting, help! Let me go! Let me go! So the disciple was puzzled. He came to his guru and said, Guruji, what's wrong? He said, I want to get free. And the disciple said, well, Guruji, you're holding on the tree. And then the guru turned and said to the disciple, yes. He said, you want to get free of material attachments, you're holding on to them. You have to let go. So how do we let go in Krishna? How do we get free in Krishna consciousness? We have to hear and chant more. We have to do more hearing and chanting. We have to be more eager to chant and to read the books of Prabhupada. We have to read all of Prabhupada's books carefully, studying the books and chanting. And so that way then we'll get free of the attachment to the material world. But we cannot have our foot, one foot in one boat and one foot in another boat. That's asking for trouble. You see. So at the same time, we do need to balance the material and the spiritual. We cannot just immediately let go of everything material. We say the train runs on 2 tracks. Now if the tracks are not level, the train will overturn. So you want to try to balance the material and the spiritual. You need some material life, you have to maintain your job, your life. You have to maintain everything. So we cannot just simply give up everything. But at the same time, we also need spiritual life. So we have to make proper time for hearing and chanting. Make it a regular thing, to hear and chant. And we have a lot of things to help us, like we have Bhakti Shastri course. Did you do that course? Bhakti Shastri? Yes? Some of you didn't? Good? Yeah, very good. You can do Bhakti Shastri and then you can go on and try to do Bhakti Vaibhav. May take longer, certainly does take longer, but still it's worth it. You get good association, you get a good opportunity to hear and chant. So I know Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, he encouraging all his disciples to do these things. Bhakti Vedanta, after Bhakti Vaibhav, after Bhakti Vaibhav, then Bhakti Vedanta, then Bhakti Sarvabhauma. Go on, study the books regularly. It's very nice. You get enriched in spiritual knowledge. It's very nice because everyone who's doing these courses are very serious devotees. They want to hear and chant. You know, you don't always get that kind of atmosphere where everyone's really serious. So it's certainly very good for us to try to take some of these courses and do the studies, write the exams, everything. Helps to keep us busy in the service of Krishna. That's what we need. We need to do more hearing and chanting. The idle mind becomes the devil's workshop. If we don't engage our mind fully, then it just becomes the devil's workshop.
We need to leave him to home. He's very tired all the time.
All right, any other question?
I heard one. Maharaj, I wanted to ask, when Prabhupada went to the West, he was able to preach to the Western people. But if we try to do that now, we are not able to connect those many as Prabhupada did so fast. I mean, Indians, of course, they have the opportunity to get connected somehow or other. But the Western people, I feel they still don't get that chance.
Well, Prabhupada, it didn't all happen immediately, you know, it takes time, you have to be patient. But Prabhupada depended on Krishna, and Krishna sent people. Some people, they saw him walking around in his sannyasi clothes, and somebody had been to India, so then they asked him, "Are you a Swamiji?" And then you could tell, then he began to talk to them. And he told them, "I have my Bhagavad Gita class every week, you can come." So, it's no different from when Prabhupada was here. It's just that it was hard when Prabhupada was here, it's hard today. But you have to be determined, you have to be enthusiastic, you have to be patient. And it can happen. Gradually, people come. Devotees of Krishna are everywhere, but they're waiting for us to come there. Right? We have to come there and find them. So that's the program, to find out the devotees. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.